I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, want to welcome you back to another session of Printer to Printer with me, Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer. And today we are with Tim McKellen. Did I get that right?
McClellan, close.
McKellen, okay, close, but you got it right, so we're good. From Integra Graphics Synergy. How you doing?
Great. Good to see you, Warren. Thanks
Likewise.
for being on your podcast here.
Pleasure. Before we go, do you want to just tell us a little bit about Integra and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so Integra Graphics that's our short name. We are a print distributor. We are in 3 locations. We're in Pennsylvania headquartered up near Lancaster, and I'm down in the DC area, and we've got a rep down in Atlanta. We are print distributors, otherwise known as print brokers in our industry. And we all have different backgrounds. We're about 10 people. We have different backgrounds coming from different areas of the printing industry. Most of us from a manufacturing, originally starting in the manufacturing end of the business, and over the last 20 years, the good Lord has shut down opportunity, especially for me after 9/11, and opened this door for me. And so I've been with Integra now for 5 years, and one of the principal owners. And we the nice thing about being to not having equipment in the back of the shop there is that we can handle anything that our customers want. And anybody that's familiar with our industry knows that there's probably a trade manufacturer, usually dozens of them, for every area of our industry. So if it's publications, or it's sheet fed work, or wide format work, or printing on promotional marketing materials, and labels and everything in between, there are lots of trade only manufacturers that like to partner with guys like me to take their specialties and reach our clients with what they do best. So that's what we do. We represent the industry to our clients, and we go to our clients, and most of them these days, most marketing folks these days, don't really have a good grasp of print. They don't have a good understanding of ink and paper and all the specifications, the stuff that we do so well, the stuff we think about at night, Warren. And so we bring that expertise and that I don't know, that commitment to them, so we can represent them better instead of representing our manufacturing plant. And that's a recipe for us that works well. So.
Wow, cool. So I'll just say, so when I go to your website, the one thing that I love more than anything is when I scroll down, it goes print on promo, print on wearables, print on signs, print on paper. Just the fact that you have print on is spectacular. Right, because I think you promote print maybe a little bit better than some of the printers out there that should be promoting it differently.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's important. And listen, the trade printers are important. Hopefully, they're charging a price that you can mark up, and that the markup price you do puts you in line with the manufacturers. Because for me, just the worst thing is when everything's all over the board. Right. And if you're doing cool stuff, then I think we should all be charging appropriately. But that's
that. We don't give it away.
We good. I'm happy to hear that. We can't. No one. First of all, in business, you're not supposed to give anything away. Right. I think business 101. It's called make a profit. Right. Not fund your clients.
And we're not here to make people smile. We're here to make $1. So.
No.
But at the same time, we have to give the clients value too. So we like to price things very competitively. So we're giving the clients, they're seeing an advantage from working with us. But at the same time, we don't want to undercut the industry by any significant margin, because that's not good for the industry either.
No, absolutely not. It's and you know what what I think is really great is, and I think even today there's more printers that want to get into promo. But maybe don't know it so well, so it doesn't always work so well. But yeah. I think in a situation that you're in, what you get to offer the customer is great products, great ideas, because you're doing. And correct me if I'm wrong at any point, but because you're doing it all together, you can maintain their brands and how they look. You could take the hardest item. That's what I used to do. Is take the hardest item, print it on whatever was the worst and then go to the easiest item, right? Your customer, if they're not using you for everything that you do, they're going to go to a printer. They're going to go to you for a promo. They're going to go over there, and then nothing will match on the logo.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And,
And
yeah,
today I think
they're having to manage all this stuff that they're not, they may not know all the companies. They may not, you're right. The branding is not consistent.
it's not even the companies, it's the process. Most people don't even know what a Pantone number color is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. How did you go from the manufacturing side into the all-in-one side?
So yeah, I mean that's an interesting question. So I worked for a sheet fed company for about 9 years, and I worked for a much larger sheet fed and heat set web company, commercial printing company down in Southern Virginia for several years right before 9/11, and then 9/11 hit, and you know how that was back then. Marketing budgets, people stopped buying stuff for a long time. It was almost like COVID in a way because it was so devastating to marketing budgets and to everything. And I was looking around trying to figure out how to make ends meet, And I had a $2 million, just under $2 million sales quota that I had to hit right before 9/11. And after 9/11, I was like, you know, I can't even come close to that. So I got let go from that company. But for those of us that believe in a higher power, the good Lord opened up this door for me, and actually had a client call me up after I left, after I got let go. One of my best clients called me and said, "I have a pocket folder I need you to do." And I said, her name was Diane. I said, "Diane, I don't work there anymore. You know I don't work there anymore. I told you this." She said, "I don't care. I need you to get it done." And that's how I started in this business. So
See, good people are good people. They want to stay with good people. And I was always a believer in if everything that happens for a reason, right?
yeah,
You just have to maintain that thought and keep strong, because nothing's easier. And I mean, I just in life in general, we've all become road warriors, right? With everything happening and having to change and having to move around. It's pretty exciting out there. How do you reach your customers or new customers?
well, I think like most people, I've relied a lot over the years on people moving around, and certainly current customers referring me to other customers. I always found that to be the
The
best
best.
way. Yeah. But I've got other customers that open up doors for me. Yeah, that's been my bread and butter, is just having other customers open up doors for me. I
Do
mean,
you
I
do?
can cold call all day long, and that opens up some doors, but these days that seems to be a lot less effective than it used to be.
No,
You know,
exactly. Do you do any direct mail?
we've done some direct mail, and we're getting ready to do some very interesting direct mail. But typically, we have not been great at marketing ourselves. Not with outbound marketing like that.
Right.
But that said, we're getting ready to change that and do something that we've never done before. Some omni-channel marketing, reaching out with a number
Okay.
of.
Well, if it's not a sales pitch, but I know a couple people. If you should need some help from the outside to look at the omni channel and any of the other options,
Yeah,
I tell everybody, and I preach it actually, that anybody in print should be doing their own direct mail, right, to reach customers for a couple reasons. The first reason is you could have 10 people on your staff cold calling. They'll never get to that number of reaches,
right.
right? And it's the easiest way because not everyone knows what to say, even in a cold call. If you pick 1,000 people within a 5-mile radius businesses, and you have a mailing campaign of postcards, even just one a month for 12 months, because it takes 3-4 months for it to start to sink
Yeah,
in.
name out there.
You'll pick up 2, 3, 4, 5% clients of that, or maybe not full clients, phone calls, inquiries, etc.
Yeah,
But it comes, and then they know what you do, right? And then the other thing is when you do your own direct mail and you track it and you keep all the records of it, you then have your own case study when you're going in to talk to your customer and saying, "Hey, customer, listen, we just did this for a year. We mailed some personalizing envelopes, we did postcards, we did whatever we did, and these are the results." So I could sit here in front of you today and suggest to you that really it's an option, it's an optimal idea for you, assuming that they're in the right place and they're dealing with
Right.
consumers, right? And
Yeah.
you will have just made your life and your salespeople's lives a lot easier, and
Yeah.
they'll know you walking in,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I like it. I like it. So I was talking to another industry colleague recently, Heidi Tolliver, who you probably know. She's a writer in our industry, and she said that to me recently too. She said, I told her what we were planning on doing. She said, "Have you done it for yourself yet?" And I said, no, but we're getting ready to do that. She's like, you need to do it for yourself to show your clients what you're doing, and she's absolutely right. Yeah.
Well, if people don't do it for themselves, how can you talk as an expert on it,
Right. Right.
right? You can't. So
Well, we can talk from the outside in and say, okay, I did this for this client, and this is what they
so
found.
okay.
But
So
you're right, it's different.
I'm happy you just said that, because I used to be part of an organization called Entrepreneur Organization. So it was really more for I don't know if you know YPO, Young Presidents Organization. So it's the organization below you're the president, but it was for at the time it was younger people. You owned a company, you had $1 million of sales. You join the group, and then you get put into these forums, which become your board of directors, right? Well, your personal board of directors, not company. But one of the rules in the forum is when you are talking where people are asking you for advice, you are not allowed to talk out of the I experience. You cannot talk about knowing someone who did something in order to something,
I got it. Yeah.
because then the story is not accurate.
Yeah.
And when you speak from the I perspective, or you're a salesperson speaking to the customer from the I perspective, you've done it. It's believable and it's credible, right?
I
Because
love
by the time I hear stories from people, it's kind of like when someone calls me up and says, "Hey, I got a hot tip for you. You want to buy a stock?" I'm like, "No," because every time someone calls me up, it's like they want my money to get out and I lose,
it. It's like a
right?
game.
So
Yeah.
so if I can't get in at the beginning, I don't want in.
Mhm.
What do you like? What move? You might not want to answer the question, but what moves the most within the company? Like, is it print? Is it excuse me, promo, signage? Is there anything in the promo that's hot items?
Gosh, man, the promo world has changed so much over COVID, because we did so much in person, and then we were 2 years outside
Right.
of in person, and now we're getting back in person again. I think it's I can't think of any one piece that's like the new great thing. You and I were talking about the augmented reality. That's obviously a hot thing right now in the printed world. People using QR codes. It seems like they've gone off the charts. Um, you know,
Funny, sorry, the QR code. Funny, eh? Before in North America, it never got traction,
right?
right? And in Korea or overseas where it started, I think might have been Korea, but wherever it started,
And I think, yeah,
Japan probably. You're right. Everywhere where they were using it, supermarkets, the underground metros, whatever. In North America, never took off, and all of a sudden, one of the now we have to look at the positive things from the pandemic, right? Can't talk about the bad because there's no point. But one of the positive things is those QR codes took off and everybody wanted them. And the truth is, QR codes lead to more print,
yeah.
right?
And
Because
everybody's got a reader now. I mean, you don't have to have an app anymore. You just click it with your camera and it reads it
well,
automatically.
if you had a Samsung, you always had a reader. If you had an Apple, you didn't always have a reader or NFC. I'm an Android guy, but that was just a plug for
I am
Samsung.
too. I am too. Yeah, but yeah, that's certainly you're right. That I'd heard this the other day. So the phone now, you don't have to have a special app, and you don't have to worry about touching something and getting picking up germs or whatever. So it became rapidly popular over the past 2 years.
Yeah, and
Um,
even at the beginning of the pandemic, it put large format signage and all kinds of things like that on the map because everybody was out getting it. The floor graphics, wall graphics, the signage. It was great. I mean, it's not the way you want to do it in a crisis, but you know what? Good stuff comes from crisis. And
yeah,
now people want direct mail. People, once they figured out how to get addresses of people where they were. I used to tell people, do the mail to the office. Well, no one's there. I said, well, don't you think they're getting their mail every week?
yeah,
Right? They're not just letting the mail pile up in the corner and when they come back in a year, they'll get it. I said, packages are going home every day. People are distributing it, and then everyone all of a sudden slowly has everyone else's cell phone number, right? So everything kind of just open, and there are no secrets for addresses today. Anybody could find anything you want anywhere if you really have the time,
Pretty much now. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's good. And
Yeah.
the people, your salespeople, where'd you get them?
So we picked up a rep from a publication printer. I used to work for one of the big publication printers in our country, and as publications continue to have their own, I don't want to say demise, but a downturn in their world, he's looking for other opportunities. So we picked up somebody from a big publication company, and he's getting used to it. So he's not used to a lot of the commercial, the non-publication commercial print stuff. So he's getting used to that. He's not used to promo stuff, which we're doing a lot of, and he's not used to working as an independent, what we call a distributor. So he's got his own ramp up period that he's still on. But we picked him up, and he's a very solid guy. So we have good hopes for him.
Oh, great.
You
So
know,
one thing that the main reason when I got into print was that every single person that I met had a need, right? Any business had a need, and I'm not talking the size. It could have been 3 business cards, it could have been a pad, it could have been inserts for something, it could have been folding carton for their pack. But everyone that I meet, and I always had a business card on me, even today, never afraid to talk to someone and give it, right? I think it's the only business, aside from maybe medical, but you got to go through the doctor, where everyone you meet, you could be doing business with. And now, with what you're doing, or anyone who's doing the promo and all the other stuff, it's like it's one stop sitting for a customer if they're smart.
right. I think one of the challenges for us, and has been for years in this model of business, is that can be a plus and a minus. So everybody that's got a business card or a little form that they want to have done, you end up chasing a lot of little fish around. I know you like to fish. So
I like to fish.
So you can catch a lot of minnows if you're not careful. You got to go after the bigger fish.
Okay, but you need to qualify customers first, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So what we used to do was we used to have a whole little questionnaire for buyers that were for people that were buying print that we would meet, and it kind of went like this. So we would go sit down with them in our first meeting, and we'd say, listen, we have a little questionnaire that we have, and we want to use it just to get to know you better and what the needs are, but don't feel compelled to answer anything because you don't need to. It's really your choice.
Yeah.
And we would ask them about themselves, where they worked, what their work history was, what their experience was. And then you're getting to build that rapport with them. And people like when you're interested in them. I mean, you got to watch what you're asking. You can't go too far to the left or the right, but you're going to keep it there. And then we would get into the company. So what does the company do? Or what do they buy? What do they spend their money on? What's the budget? And again, you don't have to answer me, but when people start talking, look at me. I can't shut up half the time. But no, but then you ask more questions. So what's the budget? And may I ask who you're using now? I'm asking only because I'm trying to figure out the area in which you're moving. It's not about anything other than that. Are you using use better printers? Or are you using the smaller guys?
Yeah.
What's the budget? What's the hardest thing what are the hardest problems you have? And from asking those qualifying questions, you get a lot of information most of the time. And
Sure.
People would say to me, nobody else asks those questions. And then I knew I was onto something.
Well, especially if you're talking to people that have those goals as part of their job, like a marketing VP or marketing director. They've got certain goals they've got to hit. So those are their problems, and those are goals that we can certainly help them with. So
Yeah,
they people like us, I think, versus somebody who's a buyer or maybe a customer service person or whatever. So I like you. I'm sure we're in the same boat there. I like to target people that have those goals that they need to hit, and they're looking for ideas and fresh resources and something.
And at the end of the day, it's our job to make their life easier.
Right.
My best customers were the ones aside from becoming friendly with them and having good relations, really we went out of the way to make their lives easier, never let them down. And then when you got to the point where they knew they could always count on you, not that you want them always to call you in the 11th hour, right? But those 11th hour calls usually had more margin anyways. So it's
Yeah.
pretty
Not
good.
much competition when it comes to the 11th hour. You're usually, it's like, okay, can you do this quickly? Yes.
Right.
Okay. Here it is. Do it.
Well, and they're calling you because they know you can.
And they trust you. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, trust I think is single-handedly the biggest factor out there when dealing with people,
And
right?
that's when it's fun too. It's fun when people are trusting you, because it's more enjoyable that what you're appreciated for your resources and the ability to get things done, and that's, everybody wants to be there.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't matter what you do, right? If you're a server in a restaurant, if you're a flight attendant, if you're a car mechanic, you want to know that what you're doing is good and that people are happy and smile. Listen, the best thing that any of us could ever do is say thank you to someone. We appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I try to say that with everything I do every day, just because the world needs to be a little better place. Right. And I'm not going to go into any preaching on this show, but I have a whole lot of thoughts on that. So before we wrap up, anything that you want to add, say? It's your minute.
Oh, it's my minute. Okay.
You can make it 30 seconds if you want to.
Yeah, 30 seconds is probably better. The less said, the better. So I still love this business after 32 years in it, and it's exciting to me to still have this. I'm still glad that there's a need for what we do, and appreciation for what we do, and for me at 56 years old, I love to grow in my to learning new things that I can then take to my clients and say, not only do we do this, but here's this new thing, and I want to help you use this to to be a benefit to what you do, to help you with what you do, to help you further your goals. You know,
Oh,
so
exactly.
there's a lot of stuff coming into this business. On a technology side, a lot of it's non-print related, but it's tied into print that really is exciting. Like I mentioned, the AR stuff, or
Yeah, we get to learn a little more. So you mentioned 56. I turned 56 2 days ago.
hey,
And I'll tell you, I think it's just a number because I still think I'm immature and have more energy than most people half the age. Right.
I
So,
can tell. I can't see the gray hair, but
well, there's no hair. A little bit there if you do that. But in general, I think it's all about a person's attitude, their will, and their want to do things, do them right. And for me personally, I just want to help people. I mean, in this part of life, I mean, yeah, I want a lot of things I want to do, but I get off more on helping people and watching other people succeed. When I say that, it even sounds a little crazy, being that it's me saying it, but that's what's happened over years, and I just embrace it.
I agree. I think that's
So,
part of the maturity of getting older, is you want to help other people succeed, and that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. So
yeah, and especially look out for the youngins in our industry and make sure that we give them the right path.
we need some youngins in our industry.
Well, we need some of the oldins to step out and step down and just shut up. And we need to listen to what some of the youngins are saying because they're not wrong, right? And just quickly before we go, it's really funny. Someone the other day said to me, I don't know. I remember I paid my dues. And I looked at them and I go, paid your dues? I go, I'm taking the other side now. I go, what does that mean? That sounds something like my grandfather would say. I said, whoever said that we have to work 5, 6, and 7 days a week? Maybe the young kids are onto something about working hard in the time that you're working and relaxing and enjoying. Because the truth is, life is a limited amount of time.
Amen to that. Yeah,
Right.
you're right. You're not going to get to the grave and say, "Gosh, I wish I'd have worked some more 50-hour weeks." So yeah.
No, exactly. And I'm trying to actually, I've just positioned myself now to try to work as hard as I can, but I want to take time off and I want to see things around the world and not have to say, why did I not do that? The pandemic taught us one thing, right? It's you never have to say no, and you never say, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Because we learned the pandemic, everything can wait, nothing's in a rush. And if it's not life threatening, what's one more day?
And we also learned that life is really short, and we miss face-to-face and in-person communication. So yeah, big time.
Yeah, there's some people I don't miss it with, but that's okay. Right. Anyways, you know what, Tim, great conversation. I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Warren.
To everybody else, I hope you listened till the end. Maybe you stopped early. If you did, hopefully you picked up the recording when you were driving or just sitting at home. Always fun for me to speak to different printers. Anybody has any thoughts? Anyone has any ideas? Anyone wants to chat with me? Please reach out. It'd be my pleasure. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you go to the website, go to the merch section, buy a t-shirt, buy a sweatshirt. Great sweatshirts and fall is here. Anyways, after the plug, to everybody else, just want to thank you all. Warren Werbitt for what they think. I love print.